Hello and welcome to Box Up Vibes. I'm Wesley Chris, and joining me this time is Miss Vena Jenkins. This is the first time that you're getting to hear from Vena, as I mentioned before, previously with Matt and Cody. I'm excited for y'all to get to meet this half of the show as well. Vena, would you like to say hi real quick?
What's up, guys?
Real quick, I'll give you a lowdown. Me and Miss Vena, we were introduced through my wife. We vibed out pretty quickly. You know, we got a lot of stuff in common. I consider her like a little sister. There's that age gap. You know, I've always got the little sister vibes off her. She's a cool homie. And she's my conspiracy buddy. We get down on the conspiracies together. So that's always fun. But you know, I'm excited for everybody to see the side of Boxed Up Vibes that Vena brings. You know, because that's the fun thing about this whole experiment with Cody, Matt, and Vena and stuff like that is everybody gives off different vibes. They're into different things, and that's the fun of it, you know? Sure. So with that said, I kind of have a vibe that I would like to lead off with, just kind of, you know, set the tone, get everything comfortable. Cartoons, Vena. Like, there's a little bit of age gap between us, you know? A lot of the cartoons that I remember growing up, some of my favorites, I guess that would be the vibe. Is what was your like go-to cartoon growing up?
Like what age, I guess, are you asking?
Well, you know, I was all the way from the Rugrats, to Ren and Stimpy, to Doug, to I remember it leading all the way into Hey Arnold and all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, like, what was your go-to? I mean, I can't really say that I had one that was just like, that's my favorite. But I guess you could say I was a Nickelodeon kid. Like, right. you know, I stuck to Nickelodeon stuff.
I don't think, it's not a cartoon, but Teletubbies was my first show.
Teletubbies?
Like, I had, like, the bed set, the curtains, the clothes.
No.
That was my shit. And then Rugrats for sure, and Rocket Power. Rocket Power's my favorite.
Rocket Power is lit. I like Rocket Power. Yeah. That's a good one. It's funny, though, you mentioned the Teletubbies, just because it reminds me of a funny story. I was really into Barney. And
Same.
I had fucking the Barney comforter set, the pillowcases and everything, and I even had like Barney t-shirts.
Did you ever go to the live shows?
Well, that's the thing. I had the white little VHS that had like, it was jam-packed with like 3 of the live shows.
Right.
And, I mean, I would dance around in my living room and shit like that, get down to that.
But
no, listen. I fucking had like the underwear, Barney underwear, everything. And my dumb ass, like, I go to school, like, I think it was like 3rd grade, 4th grade, something like that. I'm decked out Barney, yo.
That's awesome.
Fucking worst mistake of my life.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll never live that down. But there's still people that, you know, I went to school with that still remember that. Me showing up to school and decked out in fucking Barney and shit.
Right.
I mean, I caught hell for it, but I grew up real quick.
Talking about Teletubbies, you know how, like, you try to get your kids into stuff that you like. So when Coraline first started watching TV, my grandma bought her a bunch of Teletubbies DVDs, and when she first started watching TV, we had one of those old, like, box TVs with the glass screen, you know?
Right,
and I had it sitting on her floor, and she was watching Teletubbies one day right when she started crawling, and they said bye, like at the end, you know how they wave? Coraline went running towards the TV, like crawling towards the TV, smacked her head on it, and bounced back.
Oh, wow.
Because she was trying to go over the hill with the Teletubbies.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
She was in the show.
She didn't watch it after that. Like, she quit watching Teletubbies, yeah.
You mentioned the tube TVs. That made me feel old as well. I come from the era of whenever you still had to pull the little knob out and, like, twist it to get to the channels and stuff. A lot of people, like, look at me like, I try explaining it to my kids and stuff, and they just look at me like I'm crazy when I'm talking about it.
For sure.
The stuff that they watch, though, that's what I was going to compare it to, man. The vibes of, like, the cartoons from when we were growing up to the vibes of the cartoons now are just not the same. Like, no, obviously it's different generations and stuff like that, you know, so they're going to be into different things. But, man, I just find that the stuff that the kids are watching these days just doesn't make fucking sense. And I felt like the stuff that we watched at least made there was like some kind of story in each episode that made fucking sense.
Right.
Here it's just like they're what is the one, like the Loud House?
I feel like now, like, you either have, like, baby shows like Coco Melon and, like, Baby Shark and shit.
Right.
And then you have, like, preteen shows. Like, there's nothing in there for, like 4 to 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, and I feel like Disney back in the day used to be pretty good about having those shows. Like, they had a good range of shows for each age gap as well. But man, I just feel like the kids shows these days are kind of lacking.
Oh, for sure. Like Coraline don't watch anything new except she loves Cocomelon, but I do think Cocomelon's really like educational. Like she learns a lot from it.
Yeah, my kids like Cocomelon, so I'm cool with Cocomelon. That is something that's seen on the TV a lot. They watch a lot of that's the difference between kids. What they have now and compared to what we had is YouTube. There's so many different YouTube channels that I catch my kids like watching of like I believe there's an A for Adley or something like that. There's like the Blippy, I think is what he's called. Like there's all these different shows, and I mean,
I don't understand the ones where kids play with toys either, and like I don't understand how kids like it as much as
that's my thing. I have like Charlie, okay, my youngest daughter, she still plays with like toys and stuff like that, obviously and stuff. Braylee, her older sister, doesn't mess with this stuff, but she'll watch those type of shows where the kids are playing with the toys, but she don't play with toys herself. Confuses the hell out of me. Like I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand that portion of it. But I mean, it's just things are so different. It's just how much everything's evolved over the years, and just I mean, it really don't seem that long ago that things were that way, and now.
It was quick.
It was
like
it
technology.
Was
quick.
Things changed, but I mean, you still see the classics like The Simpsons. The Simpsons is always good. I always enjoy The Simpsons.
For sure. I feel like with streaming services now too, it's easier to watch those older shows.
Correct. Paramount's loaded with a lot of the good ones. Yeah.
I mean Disney too.
Disney, yeah. Well, I bounce back and forth from Disney. I will say like one thing I didn't like about Disney is Disney does a lot of the with its shows. Is the whole like releases on Fridays and stuff like that, so it kind of drew me away from Disney. So I didn't really get to explore all that was like there to be offered. Like Disney's one that I don't really go to. I don't really watch a lot of the Disney stuff. Now if somebody's like, hey, like the new Mandalorian came out or something like that, I'll pop on just to watch that, and then I'm out. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sticking around to see what other things you have available for me to watch, just because I've never been a fan of like the weekly release. They even did it to.
I lose interest.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's like 2 or 3 shows that I'll watch that do that, but I have to be really into it to keep up with it. And there's still like I'll skip 2 or 3 weeks so I can binge a few episodes and then skip.
Well, what are you gonna do if someone offers you a whole season compared to a weekly episode? Oh, fuck yeah, you're gonna go to the whole season every single time because, like you said, you're gonna want to binge on it. You want to watch it. I don't want the story to end.
No.
You know what I mean? When you get wrapped into one of these seasons and stuff like that are coming out, you get wrapped in the story, the characters and stuff like that. You don't have to wait for the content for a whole week.
And I think that's why streaming services are so like popular and like make so much money now, because when you watch TV, like you get an episode randomly here and there, but with streaming services, you watch the whole thing.
Right, correct. Well, I mean, I think Dexter, if I'm not mistaken, I've been hearing, I haven't seen, like, I'm a big fan of Dexter, the old show of Dexter, and I haven't seen none of the new stuff, but I have heard rumors that it is based on a weekly episode thing with Dexter as well.
I think so.
See, that's going to throw me off, man, because I mean, as a fan of Dexter, that's something that you're waiting this whole time. Man, I really wish they would bring back Dexter. You read the books and all this stuff, and boom, here it is, and it's just like, we're going to keep teasing you.
I mean, I feel that way with Supernatural. Like, I mean, like, I'm the biggest Supernatural fan ever. It's my favorite show, but I started watching that on Netflix, and I literally binge watched the first 3 seasons to get into it. But if I would have had to watch it once a week, I would have never watched it.
Right.
Especially because the first season was so slow. But I feel like that's with any show, really.
We're going to take a quick advertisement break, and when we return, we'll jump back on the vibe.
Hey guys, it's Cody with BOXED Vibes. Stop what you're doing. Go on social media, Facebook. Go to our platform. Click on the link. Put your email in. Be notified when our grand opening for our store is. Get some great merchandise. We'll be back with you.
Welcome back to Boxed Up Vibes. Jumping back into the conversation we were talking about cartoons.
Right.
Let's continue on that theme. Let's go with movies, childhood movies that stand out to you, like you were talking about. You want your kids to watch what you watch when you get older and stuff like that. What's some movies that you have introduced your daughter to now that you were into back then, and you just kind of want her to.
The first things we got her into was the old, like, classic Disney movies, like Peter Pan's my favorite.
Right, yeah.
She loves that movie. Alice in Wonderland. You know, she does watch a lot of the newer stuff too, but definitely the older stuff. And then I feel like once she gets a little bit older, I can introduce her to more of my favorites, like The Sandlot and stuff like that. She's just too little now.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable. And I get that with the wanting to introduce to, like, you know, Sandlot and stuff. That's a big one to me, the Sandlot. The Peter Pan, I enjoyed Peter Pan, and I think that's kind of what Rissa Ann, my wife, is doing now with the kids. You know, she's introducing them to all the things that she watched.
Right.
You know, and so more and more, and Charlie's really into all the princesses and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, but I guess that's common for girls, you know, is to be into those kind of things. But as time went on, you know, it's kind of cool seeing, like, all the new princesses, I guess you could say,
right,
with, like, the Frozen princesses that have been added over time that, you know, they're going to grow up and be like, with their kids, like, you know what I mean? Like, is Elsa and Anna, I believe is what they're called. Yeah, man. That stuff's cool to me. A big one that came out to me is Willow. I don't know if you've ever seen Willow. Oh, man, you got to check out Willow. That's a classic. You know, and I think the reason why it's stands out so much to me is, you know, that was one that I found myself really enjoying with my brother for whatever reason. I mean, it was just a movie that, you know, it was a moment that, you know, because if anybody knows me and my brother, we were always, like, scrapping and fighting and stuff like that, you know, getting into trouble, doing silly things. And it was just one of those moments where it was just, you know, everything was cool, calm, and collected. We both were enjoying what we were watching and stuff like that. It was just a cool little movie, man. If you haven't seen Willow, I suggest that you go check it out. I believe Val Kilmer's in it, if I'm not mistaken. But that's one that stands out to me.
I didn't really watch a lot of movies. Like, I can't remember a lot of movies that I watched when I was younger. I feel like we watched, like, TV shows, and I mean, we watched WWE 24/7.
Oh yeah. You
know what I mean? I can't really remember any movies that we really watched other than, like, like, my dad made us watch a lot of sports movies.
See, my family was their movie, like, wizards. My sister can quote, like, movies like crazy, but I mean, it's just our grandmother's house. When you opened up her cabinet, it was just all these movies that she had, like, videotaped off of, recorded off of HBO, Showtimes, all those back in the day. And I mean, we seen everything. I mean, I've seen everything from Meet Me in St. Louis. I think it's the old one, Little Women or something like that. Like, all the classics of those. Our family was big on movies. We watched a lot of movies. That's something that I still enjoy doing to this day. If I'm folding laundry, I'm watching a movie with it. You know, that's just,
well, I mean, as I grew up, I started watching. Like, I love movies now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I want Coraline too, but I just don't remember watching it.
Well, that's probably like, you know, in some kind of ways, I envy you for that, just because, like, you're able to explore the movies back then and really appreciate them more so now.
Right, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because there's movies that I go back to and I watch, and I'm just like, and I remember watching. That time, it's just like, man, like, I don't think you really understood.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, the meaning of the movie, the point the movie was trying to drive across and stuff like that. And when you see it when you're older and stuff like that, you just see things through a different perspective. And it changes things. So, yeah, I kind of, I guess you could say there's jealousy to that, you know, because, I mean, I've seen a lot of movies, and I get so shocked that even at my wife, whenever I ask her about, like, Star Wars, she's never seen Star Wars and stuff like that. What? Oh, my goodness.
I watched, like, the first one, but I'm just
talking about Disney Plus.
Star Wars isn't my thing. I could never get into it.
But you got to give everything a try at least once. Even, like, you know, she did it with the Lord of the Rings. You know, she had never seen any of those, and I mean, she didn't like it. Obviously, she fell asleep probably within the first 45 minutes, but she gave it a chance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I've watched a couple of them with my brothers and stuff because my dad was the same way. He's like, it's classic. I was like, all right, and it's just not. I'm not, you know, I'm not about spaceships and shit like that aspect. Let's
move on with the vibe then, and let's, you know, you mentioned wrestling. I was a big wrestling fan. Been to a lot of house shows, independent shows. You know, big time WWE fans growing up. You know, there's plenty of memories that can be made with family, friends, with wrestling when wrestling was involved.
Right.
I remember one of my friends, Brian. You know, I was able to be the person that took him to his first WWE event and stuff like that. You know, and it was just really cool getting to see his reactions and stuff like that. You know. To the show and stuff. That stuff's always cool. I got to take Rissa Ann in Orlando to the NXT events and stuff like that. It's something that we always enjoyed going to and stuff. And it was cool seeing her thrive in that environment, stuff like that, and really kind of understand it, because we watch it on TV and it's just kind of like, for her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But when you're there in person,
it's a lot different.
Yeah.
I feel like too, like when you watch it on TV, you can. I don't want to say it's fake, you know what I mean? But like you can see like the show part of it. But when you go, like it's exciting.
It is. You know it is different. It is different. You know, and the best era of wrestling for me was obviously the Attitude Era. That's what I grew up in. You know, with the Rock, the Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Road Dogg and all.
China was my bitch.
Yeah. All them. I mean, they made it entertaining. They made it fun, you know. And that's one thing that, you know, obviously you can't compare the generations and the eras and stuff like that.
I feel like the storylines back then were a little bit better. Like they weren't as gimmicky
Absolutely.
as they are now.
But I believe that they were able to get away with a lot more back then.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying?
sure.
And I feel like the whole PG thing, it's kind of what ruins it for the WWE right now. I feel like if they kind of go back to like, you know, rating for a mature audience, they would find a lot more success within their industry. Because I mean, I would agree right now that there's not a lot of storylines that are going on right now in wrestling that are really entertaining to myself. I will say that the talent in both the AEW and WWE, I would say that they both have good talent, good rosters and stuff like that. NXT is full of talent that I just, you know, I can see on main rosters and stuff like that. But I mean,
I really haven't watched it in like years. I feel like that was a thing with me and my brothers. Like, I guess that was how we bonded or whatever.
Right.
And I've got a lot of memories with it, but I feel like once we got a little bit older and kind of started going our separate ways, like none of us watched it anymore.
Well, you know what? Then let's travel down a road. We're coming up on another break, but before we take it, we'll switch up the vibe. You know, you grew up with being the only girl,
right?
Correct. You know, okay. Well, let's kind of put me in the shoes, I guess, the visions of my sister, you know, because, I mean, me and my brother, we tormented my sister. We, you know, rough housing, wrestling and stuff like that. I'm sure you went through those things. Like, so how from your vision of growing up with brothers being the only girl, go ahead.
I was a mediator. I feel like my brothers really didn't mess with me that much, but like I'd beat the shit out of them too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't bother me, but I feel like it did play a big role in how I grew up and like the fact that I'm not very I don't wear dresses, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like I'm real into sports and stuff like that.
My
and I feel like
had
I had a sister or whatever, I could be a whole other person.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
100%.
That's crazy. Yeah, my sister was the same way. She was always into sports and stuff like that. She was into wrestling. She was into a lot of things. I mean, even now, I was just telling Matt and Cody whenever they were here earlier, you know, that my sister, Madden, I think she could probably take anybody. I mean, she's just that good. I mean, she's a very sports-oriented person, you know, and very knowledgeable. She watches the Olympics. She's into all that stuff.
Right.
You know, but I can remember, you know, having those moments growing up where we would get rough with my sister and stuff like that. She held her own and stuff like that. She always said she didn't want kids growing up, and I find it so ironic that the heavens above blessed her with 2 boys. So
for sure.
I feel like that was like, you know, God trying to show her that, you know, you've got this, you've been through it, you know. So real quick, we're gonna head out for a break. When we come back, you know, we'll explore more of the time and life of Vena with brothers.
Hey guys, it's Cody with BOXED Vibes. Stop what you're doing. Go on social media, Facebook. Go to our platform. Click on the link. And put your email in. Be notified when our grand opening for our store is. Get some great merchandise. We'll be back with you.
Welcome back to Boxed Up Vibes. Rolling on with our vibe of being the only sister in a all-male household. What's one memory that stands out the most to you growing up with your brothers?
So me and my brothers are really close in age, like 2 years apart, all of us. And my little brothers, Cage and Jesse, fight constantly. Like from the time they were freaking born, like till now, they fight over everything. And they were in a fight one day in our living room, and we lived in a trailer, and our living room was pretty small. But Jesse's always been like stockier than Gage. But when they go head to head, like they're pretty equal. You know what I mean? You never know who's gonna come out on top.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what they were fighting about, but they were going at it, and they were on top of each other, hitting each other. And my mom never broke them up. It was normally me breaking them up. So I broke them up, calming them down. They're cussing at each other, whatever. And Gage goes to swing on Jesse, and he socked me in the jaw, like full force punched me in the jaw. And my whole face was red, and I took both of them by the hair, and I just like pulled them apart. And I was like, "Stop it right fucking there!" And that happened constantly. Like there was never a dull moment in that house between those two boys. But like if Jesse was in a predicament, needed somebody, the first person he could call would be me or Gage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really thankful I have it. Like we didn't have the best childhood. You know what I mean? But I'm really thankful that I had them to go through it with,
right,
and I have them now.
I've met I've met your dad. I've met
sure.
I think I've met both your brothers. How many brothers do you have?
I have two. Well, the one my dad has, that's 3.
So I've met Gage and I believe Jesse,
yeah.
and both of those, I mean, good vibes off both of them.
Sure.
You know, that you can tell they're good young men. Your dad, I love your dad to death. I think he's a hoot. You know, I really enjoyed talking to him. Yankees fan, so go Yankees.
Sure. That man
always
taught me everything about baseball I know, dude.
Always fun talks with Vena's father and stuff like that. We had a good time whenever we did get together. Well, I mean, it's good hearing this stuff because, you know, I never really put myself like in my sister's shoes. You know, I left to go live with my father whenever I was 11 or 12.
Right.
And I didn't really see much of my brother and sister after that. I don't really remember much. But, you know, I never really put myself in her shoes because, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I tormented the hell out of my sister.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just a little brother doing little brother things, I guess you could say, you know. But I did look up to my sister like crazy. My sister was, you know, she was a drawer. She was always good in school. She was always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, you know, so low key, you know, I did look up to her a lot, you know, just the way that the family talked to her and stuff like that, you know, when we were growing up, you know, yeah, she was a leader of our family. I guess.
And I feel like when you've got like one girl sibling, like one sister or whatever, I feel like a lot of times she takes on the role of like the extra mom. Because I know like my brothers say that to me all the time. Like I help raise my brothers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a thin line that you got to play when you're the only sister of being like the best friend, because my brothers are my best friends, they always have been,
right? But
then I'm also like, cut that shit out, like,
right? You
shouldn't be doing that, you know what I mean? So
right.
I feel like it's a thin line, like where you're flip-flopping between being that mom figure and being the sister.
I would most definitely say that is true, because I've heard my sister speak of you know, those moments with my younger brother and my older brother who remained with my mom after I moved out and stuff like that. And you know, my mom was working, they were divorced and stuff,
right?
And my sister would step up to that role. You know what I'm saying? You know, she would make sure that people had their homework done, and you know what I mean. I do remember the things like the chores and stuff, folding the laundry, make sure the dishes are done and stuff like that. I do remember those moments and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I applaud you. Like I said, you have 2 good brothers. You know, you done well, Vena.
Thanks.
You done well.
Anything they do now, I push that off on them. Like, you know what? I quit raising y'all a little while ago. Whatever you do is on y'all now.
Well, let's transition the vibe again. Hit the spin table. As I mentioned before, you know, with Cody and Matt, Vena is my conspiracy buddy. I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, introducing her. So I'm gonna bring the floor to you and give it to you. And you know, is there any conspiracy that you would like to bring to light and talk about?
Let's talk about Travis Scott.
Oh Lord,
it's new. It's the new one. I mean, I got into it so hard for that little bit.
Right? And, yeah, we had some good conversations about it.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't really know though. Like, I feel like as it's coming out more, like there's a little bit more gray area with it, you know. But I did watch the other day on the news about it was on Good Morning America, I think. His lawyer was talking to them or whatever, and they were like asking him real hard questions about Travis, and he was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, he kind of, you know, pushes for violence at his shows and stuff, but it's not his fault that this happened." And I feel like it's just kind of a bounce back, you know, how you look at it.
Well, okay. I tried to look at it from both perspectives.
Right.
People saying, because there's a lot of people that are saying, like, you know, this is not on Travis Scott.
My
dad. And I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, oh, those are the brainwashed people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy to call anybody brainwashed and stuff like that. I may be the jokester and say, like, sheeple every once in a while, but that's just a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I would never say anybody's, like, mind trance or anything like that. I try to look at it both sides, and, like, I can see where it's just like, yo, it don't fall on his shoulders that all this stuff happened, you know? But like you said, as the artist, even with the venue or wherever, you know, like my main concern would be my fans, you know what I'm saying, and their safety and stuff like that. So.
For sure, I went back and forth with my dad on it because my dad likes to argue with me about everything.
Right. Well,
but that's what he was kind of saying, like it's not his fault or whatever. And I mean, I don't really see that because the Astro World is Travis's show. And while he doesn't hire security and everything else like that, his team does, but he's over his team.
Right.
So technically it all should have came down to Travis.
Right.
And when you've got a venue for like 20,000 people, I think, and you're telling people to break in and you end up having like 50,000, there's no way someone's not going to get hurt.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at Travis Scott, if it's his venue, his concert that's going on, you're the CEO at that point. You
and the big thing with it was the chief of police or whatever told him that it was a mass casualty event, and he played on for almost like 20 or so minutes. He kept playing.
Yeah. That's where it kind of got disturbing for me,
Exactly.
And I'm a big guy of symbology and stuff like that. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm big on like the numbers and the symbolism. Yeah. And the beginning, there's a lot of footage that came out of the Astro World stuff. A lot of different footage, a lot of different angles and stuff like that, and even just like the vibrational frequency music that you hear playing before everything went off. You know what I'm saying? Was kind of creepy. It was for sure. It was kind of alarming to somebody like me who kind of like pays attention to those kind of silly things. You know what I'm saying?
Now I don't necessarily think that it was like a sacrifice anymore, but I do feel like the stuff that happened was really weird. How it like his shirt that he was wearing.
Right. There was too many things that were like
it just lined up. Too well. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I also don't think he knew people were gonna die. But at the same time, you knew people were going to get really fucking hurt. So
your mind's actually changed on some things.
A little bit.
Since the last time that we spoke.
Right.
Okay, because I'm not going to lie.
Right.
And I mean, maybe we should cut out for a break before we get deep into this. So real quick, we're gonna cut out for an ad. We're going to come right back, and we'll dive back into the Travis Scott stuff.
Hey guys, it's Cody with BOXED Vibes. Stop what you're doing. Go on social media, Facebook. Go to our platform. Click on the link. Put your email in. Be notified when our grand opening for our store is. Get some great merchandise. We'll be back with you.
Welcome back to Boxed Up Vibes, continuing our conversation about the Travis Scott concert. Yeah, I thought it was a demonic thing.
Listen, I go back and forth on it so freaking much, like, because I've talked to a couple people about it, and they're like, "Oh, you're crazy." And I'm like, okay, no, but I'm a conspiracy theorist. Like, I love doing this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of it was like,
I caught some
open
demonic
your eyes
vibes.
And look. For sure. And like, with the video you sent me of the shadow people walking.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
And I feel like
clearly behind him, though, you cannot say that wasn't like a replica of like some type of portal.
Right. Yeah.
That's demonic, man.
And did you see all that stuff? Like, it wasn't astrology or anything, but it was a bunch of pictures of like, it literally looked like his face. They walk into it, but it was something else.
Yes,
but it was like old gods or something.
And it was like your way of walking into hell or something like that. Yes, I did see that.
And did you watch a bunch of videos about people talking about it when they were there?
Yeah, man. There was a lot of like testimonial, I guess you could say, type videos.
And there were so many people that said it felt like they were in hell because they were being trampled. They couldn't do anything but scream for help.
Couldn't breathe.
Couldn't hear, couldn't breathe. Yeah. It was so hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not like...
Now, do I think every single one of those videos those testimonies are real? Nah, because you always have your people that are just clout chasing and stuff like that.
Right.
And they're probably made up stories. I mean, that stuff goes on all around. But some of those videos were absolutely 100% accurate of what people experienced. The people are saying that it felt suffocating as soon 40 seconds into the thing.
Yeah, as soon as he came on.
Yeah, it felt like the gates of hell had just been rushed open and pretty much vacuum sucked everybody in there. Yeah. And it's just like you're sitting here fucking simmering during this Travis Scott concert.
And I feel like I've been to a lot of shows. Like I've been to Warped Tour.
Right.
I listened to stuff like Asking, like harder than Travis Scott. I feel like, and I feel like when the main person comes on, everybody does push towards the crowd because I've been squished. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm short.
Correct.
But at the same time, I feel like that still would have happened had people not broke in, but it wouldn't have been as bad. And the fact that he knew it was a mass casualty and continued to play, you don't care about your fans.
The video of him clearly seeing the body being carried out and like over
and singing
and still singing is what like was like dead stamp. Like, this is a fucking damn ritual.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not gonna get me to believe that there was not something demonic or some kind of ritual type vibes that were going on out there.
For sure.
Because I don't know any artist that, and I don't care what you've been through on the streets or whatnot, that you're sitting here promoting, you know, your show to your fans and stuff like that, and you see this body being carried out. You clearly see this body. There's been multiple angles of this particular moment, and he's clearly seeing this body getting carried off, and he's singing to it.
Yeah, and I want to add too, like,
chanting.
people pass out at shows a lot because you're hot, you're dehydrated.
Correct.
You know
yes,
what I mean?
Absolutely.
But when somebody passes out, if you go and look, I'm not gonna say every artist, but like I watched the video. It was like Post Malone, Billie Eilish, maybe Kurt. I don't know. I don't remember who it was. But like when they saw somebody pass out, they would stop singing and like pick them up. You know what I mean? And he was looking at that ambulance, you know what I mean? And he didn't even, like, he was singing.
Right. And see, that's my thing. I think that he tried to make it look like he was where, you know, like when he noticed the ambulance and stuff like that, he stopped for a second. Yeah. I think that stuff was done deliberately. Like, he did that on purpose to try to make it look like he cared. Like, that, you know what I mean? But,
absolutely.
And then just swept it underneath the rug, continued on, and moments
talking
later,
about that
body.
too, when he did that, when he stopped that show for a second, as soon as he did that, the next thing he said was, "Put your middle fingers to the sky," and he went off.
Right.
And like, you don't have any sympathy for what just happened.
The video of the girl and the boy going up to the cameraman, I believe it was, or the white guy, and they were screaming like, you know, there's someone died over there. You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
he was pushing them off.
Yeah, that stuff was disturbing to me as well. You know, and it's just, it almost. It's not almost. I just felt like everything that happened was meant to happen.
Hey guys, it's Cody with BOXED Vibes. Stop what you're doing. Go on social media, Facebook. Go to our platform. Click on the link. Put your email in. Be notified when our grand opening for our store is. Get some great merchandise. We'll be back with you.
Welcome back to Boxed Up Vibes. Let's continue on with our conversation. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and turn gears a little bit. Get off the Travis Scott, the ride and stuff. You know, and let's talk about. You know, you're a big gamer. You know, let's talk about games that Vena likes to play. I know you like to play Rocket League. That's something that we mutually have in common. I think everybody here at Boxed Up Vibes enjoys the League of Rockets.
For sure.
There's a game that you do play, I've noticed you play, that I don't necessarily play into is Apex.
Oh, yeah.
What's so big about Apex that like just draws people in and stuff? Because I've never been a fan of it.
I feel like it's a really good mix between like Call of Duty and Fortnite.
Okay.
Because I was really into Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2 Call of Duty. I didn't really get into it after that. Like, I kind of quit playing games for a little bit.
Right.
And then I tried Fortnite, and it was way too, like, I can't build. I don't want that cartoony shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when Apex rolled out, it was free to play. First off, I'm all about free to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So who doesn't love the free to play stuff?
We started playing that, and then the storyline just got really good. Like the first 2-3 seasons, and then when we started playing Rocket League, I kind of quit Apex for a little bit, but now I kind of float back and forth between both of them. But it's just, I mean, the guns are good, the storyline's good, the characters are good. I love Apex. I
tried it for I think probably about a week and a half, and I just, you know, I think what it was for me was you already had Fortnite out. Everybody was doing like their battle royale thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I really think that's what threw me off. Do not get me wrong. I love the battle royale concept and stuff like that. I'm a fan of it. But I just feel like, you know, it's to a point where it's kind of getting played out.
A little bit, yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what kind of killed me with Apex, was I was kind of already on that killed out vibe. You know?
I do feel like, too, if you didn't start playing Apex at the beginning of it, like Season 1 of Apex, it would have been harder to jump into.
It's just not going to...
Because,
yeah.
Like, there's so many characters you got to buy, and, like, I mean, you got to play with them for a little bit to learn their specials, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like it's hard to jump into. Like, if you were to jump into it now, I feel like it'd be really hard.
Well, then you know what? Let's have some fun here. What is your okay? Let's get into this first.
Okay.
All-time favorite game.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. I was actually going to name that for you, because I remember when we first met. I do remember you saying Kingdom Hearts was your shit.
That is my shit.
I do remember that. Now the horror games. Do you like horror games?
I do to an extent. I don't like games that I can't see. Like I know that's the vibe of horror games, but if I can't see, I don't want to play it.
Right. I understand that.
And what was that game we played? Like the newer Resident Evil. It was alright.
Yeah.
But like me and Wyatt recently got a PlayStation 2. We were playing like old games. And playing those games is hard as fuck because they're so dark. Like the TV brightness all the way, you can't see shit. Like we were playing Twisted Metal, and I was like, we can't even play.
Hey, Twisted Metal, that's a classic. For sure. That is a classic. I could get down with some Twisted Metal. The horror games for me, I've always enjoyed them because see that was the thing. Like when I was younger, like horror movies like literally terrified me, scared the shit out of me. Like I mean, Hocus Pocus gave me nightmares. Like that would show you how soft I was when in my youth. And as I grew older, teenager and stuff like that, toughened up and stuff. Right. Balls dropped. Can't
relate.
I was able to withstand more of that adrenaline rush that comes from horror. And so the games I really jumped into Fear. Fear was one that got me. I like that. The Resident Evil titles, the Silent Hills.
I like Silent Hills.
Yeah, I enjoy all those. But all-time favorite game, I honestly would have to say, just because it was probably the first game that my brother and I discovered on PlayStation. That was Metal Gear Solid. Mm-hmm. That series just it will always be gold to me. It's just because once again it's the youthful experiences that I remember with my brother. I don't have a lot of memories, I guess you could say, with my siblings and stuff like that. So silly stuff like that is what I cling to, and that's one of the reasons why Metal Gear will always stand out to me. Let's have some fun here though. Have you ever played? I'm going to task you out.
All right.
With a game to try.
All right.
And then next week when we come back and reunite, you're going to give your review of what my suggestion was.
Okay.
And if you would like to do it, vice versa, I'd be more than willing to try out a game of your choice.
So you're gonna play Apex with me?
Okay, yeah.
I feel like that'd be a little bit. And they have arenas now too, which isn't battle royale, and I think you'll like that a lot better.
Okay.
It's like 3v3 on a map.
Have you ever played For Honor?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit. Did you like it?
It wasn't bad, but it's not something I wouldn't pick it over Rocket League, or I wouldn't pick it.
The only reason why
regularly.
I suggest that is just because you're funny when you get irritated and agitated. I played Rocket League with you and stuff, For Honor is one of those games that it pisses you off easily.
Before we had Coraline, one of my best friends lived with me for a little bit, and she played it all the time on her Xbox. That's the only game she ever fucking played, and I tried playing it with her forever, and I'd play a couple, and then I was pissed, and I didn't want to play it. If it makes me to the point that I'm so pissed off I don't want to play it, I don't want to play it.
Damn, I'm confused now. I don't know what the game's name, because For Honor is what popped in my head whenever we were talking about Apex. I don't know why, but that's just what popped in my head. So now I'm going to have to think about what game I want you to play, and then obviously next time we come in, we'll have a conversation about that. So I'm gonna pick something good, but you can't play it. That's the thing. I'm gonna ask you if you played it. I'm gonna pick something else. So
I played a lot, dog.
Yeah, I know, but we'll find something. We will find something, and then we'll catch your review of it. Vena's review, I guess you could say.
Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts?
I did. I played, I believe, the first couple Kingdom Hearts on their original PlayStation.
Yeah.
After that, I just I fell off. I'm not gonna lie. I've always for the longest time I went through this period where it was just nothing but sports. If it wasn't a sports game, I wasn't about it. It wasn't probably until I came back from Afghanistan that where I was really using games as therapy. As an out that I would play more of the story related games just to kind of captivate myself, get my attention, and draw myself into the game itself or whatnot. But nah, I was never. I'm not gonna say a fan. I never followed through, I guess you could say.
It's weird though, talking about sports games. As much as I like baseball is my favorite sport. I played for 12 years.
Right.
But I've never been into sports games.
Really?
I cannot get into them. Like Madden, I fucking hate Madden, but I don't know how to play it. And I'm like, my brothers are really good at Madden, so they're like, sis, you want to play? And I'm like, yeah. And then they don't tell me how to fucking play. And it just ruins sports games for me.
It drives Rissa Ann crazy every year. You know, they come out seasonal.
Right.
You know, and every year, you know, you want to get the new one and stuff.
Right.
It drives my wife crazy because she's just like, there's nothing different. There maybe few changes to the roster and stuff.
Yeah.
But she was like, you can literally download your rosters on the old one.
Yeah.
You know? So she's like, she always makes the remarks of like, you know, just update your roster. You know, don't get the game.
Jesse used to do that too. He used to like for Christmas he had to have the new Madden or the new NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was that way with 2K for the longest time. You know, one game that I'm excited that's coming back though in the sports world is the NCAA football franchise. The lawsuit and all that stuff got, I guess you could say, brushed under the rug. It's all gone now.
Right.
So we're going to be able to enjoy some NCAA football again. That brings back so many childhood memories for me because, like I said, I was so big into sports games. I would go out and get this magazine that listed all the players, the incoming players, the rosters for all the college teams,
right.
and I would sit there for days just punching in these players' names before I even started my franchise. And I mean, everybody had a name. Every team had a name. I mean, I would go through. I was that guy. But you know, I wasn't very sociable in school. I played a lot of sports.
Right.
But I mean, I kept my mind on stuff and didn't stay for long because I had a kid when I was 15 years old. But
right,
you get the gist of it. You know, that was the only hiccup back in the youth was the child. I'm not going to say a mistake because my baby's not a mistake. Right. But it was a hiccup. You know, I had a lot of things going for me. Stay away from the women, young men. We're gonna take another break and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Cody with BOXED Vibes. Stop what you're doing. Go on social media, Facebook. Go to our platform. Click on the link. Put your email in. Be notified when our grand opening for our store is. Get some great merchandise. We'll be back with you.
Welcome back to Boxed Up Fives. We were talking about video games. I personally was talking about my passion for sports games, but back in the day, I wouldn't say so much now. Yeah, but I was that guy with the NCAA title. I'm excited to see the NCAA title return. I think there's plenty of folks that are going to make returns back to the gaming world just for that, because I mean that hit a lot of people whenever that went away.
So I do want to say, because I know Wyatt's going to call me out when he listens to this, I think Kingdom Hearts is my favorite game, but I feel like it's a real tough tie because the first console I remember playing was PlayStation 1. I think we played like GameCube before, but I don't really remember it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But the first game I ever fell in love with was Barbie Racing Ride.
Hell fucking yeah.
And I fucking love that game. And it was the most like, now that I think about it, I'm like, why the fuck did you play that? But you literally like, you raced horses and you gave them baths, like shit like that. And for like 2 years, I've begged Wyatt to find that game, and you can't find it anywhere.
So it's pretty much like what you can find in like the phone apps now.
Yeah,
like,
literally, that's all it was.
That's crazy.
But it was so, like, that's what got me into games.
Everybody has their game that draws them in, I guess. I mean, one of the first games I can remember playing, I mean, shit, I go all the way back to the Atari days, though.
Right.
You know, but as far as PlayStation consoles and Xboxes and stuff like that goes, Metal Gear Solid was probably one of the first titles that I played. But I do remember a lot of the wrestling titles as well. Like they had like I think there was like WWF in your house or some shit like that.
Mortal Kombat was really big in our house too.
Yeah,
like, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was the first game I think I played.
What am I talking about? Even the 64s had like the GoldenEye game. That shit was gold. The WCW had a good game back on. I think it was WCW Nitro on 64. That was really good. But you know, a title all across beats all platforms, in my personal opinion, that I've ever played with Zelda. The Zelda titles and stuff like that. I had so much fun with those. Just the puzzles. I was playing Zelda in Afghanistan.
Right.
You know. Those are the titles that just they don't get old. You know.
Yeah.
I guess you could say the same thing with Mario. You know, Mario brings back a lot of memories and stuff, but.
I feel like Grand Theft Auto's up there too. I feel like that game's been
absolutely.
Ever.
I remember playing the Skyview Grand Theft Autos where you were like above him. Mm-hmm. You know, you didn't actually have the full-fledged like character in front of you and stuff. You were just everything was a sky shot. Everything. Yeah. That's how everything went.
I specifically remember playing Grand Theft Auto 3 all the time in my brother's room, and Did you play that one?
Yes.
Do you remember the construction site, and it was like right here, and then right beside it was a gas station, and there was always strippers on that road?
Yeah.
I remember killing strippers on that road. For what reason, I don't know, but I remember like sitting with my brothers and playing that game forever.
I remember that was the thing, like, for whatever reason, teenagers, I guess you could say. I mean, just going and picking up the hookers and whatnot, and going to the bushes and stuff, and it's like the car would start moving and stuff. I mean, we thought that was the funniest shit ever. I mean, just even now, like, you know, there's my buddy's son. He had a sleepover, and you know, I had given him a copy of Grand Theft Auto. And this was not his son, mind you, that was victim of this. But I guess his son had a friend over one night. They all were playing Grand Theft Auto. Everybody fell asleep. My buddy walks up either downstairs or upstairs to get a drink. They were all on the main level, you know. Right. And he catches the kid inside the stripper club. Like, you know? Yeah, man. It's just, you know, but I remember those moments as a child where it's just like,
I remember catching my brothers doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you were always told to stay away from
watching them.
Yeah.
And the graphics were shitty, so you weren't really seeing nothing, but like, it was just the thought.
Yeah, little pixel fucking titties and shit.
Yeah, like wonky fucking eyes. You couldn't make out their face.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, but I mean, kids will be kids. They'll be curious and stuff. I remember those days of being curious. Mass Effects, I'll tell you what, you know, the Mass Effects are good ones as far as having love trials, I guess you can say. Those are good if you like sci-fi space games and little love stories and stuff. You know, Mass Effect's a good one to get into. I was a space whore. I'm not gonna lie. Good games though, and Fallouts, man. I think that Fallouts are so underrated. I think, you know, there's not enough love for Bethesda and what they have done with their titles.
Did you play what is that game with Borderlands?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's my shit. When me and Mike first got together, we played that every single day till we beat it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wasn't really like too impressed with the newer one, but I do like the Borderlands of old, like the first and second one.
The second one's my favorite.
Yeah. I do like those. I never really got into this latest one that they came out with, but I don't know if it was just. I've changed a lot, Vena.
Right.
I've changed a lot, you know, and it was just back then I found a lot of the silly stuff like that funny, and then I don't know, and it's just I don't know if it was the graphics or what just threw me off about it. I don't know. It was just I didn't get into this Borderlands. I don't know what it was for me, but I didn't get into it. But when I played the Borderlands before, you know, it was me and my military buddies and stuff like that, you know, just running a gun and being silly and stuff. But Borderlands is a good title. I believe that's 2K that does that. Who does that? I don't know who makes it. Who makes that? Is it Bethesda? I don't know who makes Borderlands. Good title though. Elder Scrolls, though, man, that is by far like one of my top 3 series of games, I guess you could say. You know, Elder Scrolls, even Elder Scrolls Online, I can still go on Elder Scrolls Online and just get lost in it.
I think my problem is I'm too picky with games. Like, talking about Fallout, you know, why it's really, like, has a Fallout tattoo and everything, but I can't get into it. But I think it's because it's so complex. Like, I don't have the time to sit and play a game that's that complex.
And see, that's the difference. You know, I'm retired. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's what I want. I want something that is that complex. To keep my mind off the, you know, the things that I struggle with, you know, from the war and stuff, you know. Like I said, video games is my therapy, and I think that's why I cling more towards the things that have the big stories, the big, like, you know, just chapters after chapters after chapters of things to go through, things to discover, things to unlock. You know, I think that's why I've always been a fan of games like that.
I like a story. Like, I got to follow a story. Like, Uncharted. One of my favorite game series, but it's a story, and you can kind of go off of it a little bit to find like the treasures and stuff, but still you have like a main goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like those are the games that I lean
Far Cry always had solid stories. I think it was number 4 or 5. Kind of got a little iffy. But other than that, man, I always thought Far Cry, if you haven't ever played Far Cry title, I suggest you try a Far Cry title if you haven't ever tried one. those are good.
I think I played the first one a little bit because Jesse was into it.
Yeah, man, they're different. They are different. I enjoyed them. You know what? I guess that could be a good spot to where we're going to close out the show. But with that said, we want to know what your favorite title, favorite genre of video game is. Leave it in our comment section, and maybe we'll open up the floor when we come back for our next episode with it. Until then, I'm Wesley Chris with Vena Jenkins, and we'll see you next time.
Later.